We'd like to call the meeting to order of March 1st. The time is 7:02. If you will recite the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silent prayer afterward.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do I have a moment of silence? Thank you. At this time, we can have public comments. People can go to the microphones and give your name for the record, and if you're a township resident or not, we appreciate hearing that. And you have 3 minutes. Are there any public comments? Hello?
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Attorney Robin McCoy, and I'm a resident of Ypsilanti Township. And I, as some of you may or may not know, I have announced my candidacy for state representative for the 32nd District. My assistant, Dr. Michaela Evans, is here with me, and I'm here to listen and learn. And I would love to have the opportunity to meet with each of you and just kind of discuss, like I have obviously an idea of what I feel are the most important issues in this region, but I would also love to have the opportunity to meet with all of you to discuss that as well, get your viewpoint. I was born and raised in this area, the Willow Run School District, and I've worked with Ronnie Peterson in his office, and I've been active with the party since I was 16. I was a page for Congressman Ford, and and part of why I'm doing this is because I've supported other Democratic candidates in the past, and I just want to I'm getting out here and doing it, and want to encourage them to do that as well to get more progressive people out here. So thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am Ricky Jefferson, Washtenaw County Commissioner, District 6. I live here in the township, one of the most beautiful places I have lived. I've been in Ypsilanti all my life. I'm a fourth generation Ypsilantian, and I just came tonight to continue to be in touch with all of you and the work that you do, because I appreciate what's happening in the township as far as the life that I live is a quality life. I appreciate all that you've done. And just to let you know, I am going to run for re-election again, and that's one of the things that I've always really decided in a moment of time, because that's who I am. I'm a person that likes to continually help people, to make sure that people get the resources that they need. And also, I just love public service. I hope you guys continue to have a good evening, and that your meeting goes fair and in a fair and equitable way, that you continue to provide services for our residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Ricky, Commissioner Jefferson, I do want to publicly thank you. I've updated board members before. When we had no masks to get out to the residents going door to door, you helped us with that, tremendously helped us. And you kept us going until our order came in, and words can't describe how much we really appreciate the amount of masks that you gave us, and meeting on Saturday or Sunday or whatever day you could. If I said we just ran out, you would meet us and give us more. And I just want you to know, on behalf of the township and our residents, we really appreciate your service as a county commissioner. So, Ms. Connie.
My name is Arloa Kaiser, live at 1421 Melvin Street, and I want to thank the board and the members of the township that actually delivered the masks. A lot of people don't know that you have gone door to door to deliver them, and I want to thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Are there any other public comments? Yes, sir.
My name is Ray Smith. I've lived in this area since 2005. I currently live at 1614 Wingate. I got the mask in the note, and my feeling towards it was a lot different. I see here that we have $9.4 million I'm still paying property taxes on the Willow Run debt.
Yes, sir.
And personally, the cost of living around here is terrible. Cost of living in Washtenaw County is incredibly high. I'm looking to sell my condo and move back to my hometown. I've lived in a lot of communities in my lifetime, and this seems to be one of the most financially poorly run that I've lived in. Our streets are, I literally am about to take my car into a mechanic because I hit a pothole in this area. We can't even eat fish out of our river. We kind of have clean drinking water, maybe not. And I see that you guys are getting money, and I'm guessing that people are probably planning on how to spend it, but maybe paying some debts, maybe making it so it's affordable here. Like I'll walk my dog around my neighborhood, and I'll talk with some of my residents, and I think Wingate's a pretty diversified neighborhood, and they seem very worried about their bills. They seem very worried about their costs and how things are going. And again, before anybody gets any bright ideas to spend any money or, do something like Ann Arbor and put a little urinal in front of their city building, I think we should really look into reducing homeowners, especially with homeowners. Like I own a company here, and I do property management, and the taxes here for non-homesteaded is high, but we could at least pay off the Willow Run debt for the homesteaded people, the people who are actually living here. And again, I've never came to one of these meetings, and I've lived here for a long time, and I'm so displeased with the level of service that I get here. And I also, too, as a person has kids, I can tell you right now, with everything that's been happening with the schools and the funding there, they will not be going to these schools. So I just wanted to say my piece. I've been very upset with the government, and
Well,
that's
thank
my
you for
thing.
coming. We appreciate it.
Have a good day.
Mr. Smith. Any other public comment? Hearing none, we have the consent agenda. We have the minutes of the February 15th work session and regular meeting, statements and checks for March 1st, 2022.
So move.
Support.
Motion Joe Rose, support Wilson. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Winters, did you give your attorney report and the work session? Do you have any additional things to report on?
I close an argument? No, I think it was pretty detailed, so unless there's any specific questions or any more requests for any more updates, I think I'm good.
Did a great update.
Thank you.
Under new business, we have the request to approve the preliminary site plan for Stage 1 plan development approval for Range USA.
So move.
Support.
We have a motion support. Jason, would you like to help give a presentation and introduce us to the prospective new developers in the township?
Good evening, Township Board. Jason Icawangeli, Township's Planning Director. This evening before you, we have a project, Range USA, which is looking to locate at 660 James L. Hart Parkway. And before you this evening is a site plan for Stage 1 PD approval. What that means is just a site plan with the draft development agreement attached to it for your consideration. The only formal action that you would be taking this evening is on the Stage 1 approval for the site plan. The PD agreement would come back to you at Stage 2 for final approval along with the final site plan. But again, this is for a project to be located at 660 James L. Hart Parkway. It's a 15,000 square foot indoor gun range and teaching classroom retail facility. The project is currently zoned PD, and the underlying zoning for that parcel is B3, general business, which allows for indoor recreation uses and retail sales. They're hoping to have 20 shooting lanes in this building, again, teaching classes for firearm safety is a big part of what they do. This particular piece of property is just to the east of bank supplies. Currently, it's a vacant parking lot parcel or a parking lot that's utilized by bank supplies or will be sold to these folks in order to have this development placed upon it. So far, all of the reviewing agencies and consultants recommended approval. I know in the packet at the time that it went to the Planning Commission, YCUA, and the fire department had some issues that they needed resolved at the time of engineering, including some water main size issues and some fire hydrant, the numbers of fire hydrants for fire protection, and those comments have been addressed. They're currently, Range USA is actually currently under the second round of detailed engineering review. So since this set of plans that you're seeing now, they've already submitted twice more to get that final site plan and detailed engineering in place while they're working on this stage 1 approval. So again, in your packet, you'll find a draft PD agreement along with this stage 1 preliminary site plan that we're asking you to. We're recommending approval based on the Planning Commission's approval and their recommendation to you. Some of the things that we talked about before were some of the conditions that the Township Planning Commission asked to be a part of that PD agreement, including providing 2 EV charging stations in the parking facility, using some drought-tolerant native Michigan plant species as a part of that, and then the camera systems that are typically asked for by the Planning Commission. It's sort of already a part of their safety paradigm, so that was something that they were already anticipating doing before they were even asked by the Planning Commission. Lisa, I think on that thumb drive there should be like a rendering of the building. I wanted to show that to you folks because you had asked during the work session to kind of see where we arrived at. Is there one? There's files out. If you just go to the store and go, it would be the one that says final. Thank you. So this is sort of the building rendering that we've arrived at. There were a few iterations of this before where there was a more predominant use of the orange color, which is sort of their branding. And they chose to go with, still using the orange color in some parts of the building, including the some of the awnings and the coping around the top. But then they settled on sort of a neutral brick color. And then again, like we talked about during the work session, those windows that you see in the front, the only real windows are sort of like the top 1/4 of those windows. The rest of them, 3/4 of the way down, are what they call spandrel glass, which isn't, it's glass, but there's really nothing behind it. There would be a wall behind it. So it kind of gives the appearance from the parking lot that it's an actual glass window, but in reality, it's not. Only the upper 1/4 of those windows would actually be glass. This is an existing, also to just touch on some of the walkability and things like that. This is one of those areas of the township where it's the sidewalks are already installed as a part of the overall business development, and it has access to transit along Whitaker, Huron. And then again, there would be a parking lot for private cars. So there's, from a walkability standpoint, there's a way to get to this. It's sort of along the frontage there. There's sidewalks that are already a part of the overall Washtenaw Business Park. So I didn't want to forget to mention that. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you folks might have, but I know that you did have some questions for the applicant, and I know Ken Knuckles is here this evening. He's sort of like the project manager, I would say. He helps coordinate between the actual Range USA folks and then Kimberly Horn, which is the engineering firm that's doing the design engineering for the project. So, Ken, I don't know if you want to, probably now would be a good time to introduce Mr. Knuckles, and he can probably give you a little bit more information on Range USA and their project. Thanks.
Good evening. My name's Ken Knuckles. I'm with Development Management Group out of Nashville. I'm here representing Compton Addy, who are the developers. They're purchasing the property and will be developing this for Range USA, who will be the tenant here. John Zilch is with Compton Addy. He's here if you guys have any questions on the developer side. So we've worked quite a bit with the township and with Jason on the design of the building. I think originally we had a building that was more, much lighter palette. The problem that the tenant had with it is that as part of changing over from Shoot Point Blank to Range USA, the signage and stuff changed. The white lettering and signage and stuff obviously did not work well with the lighter whitish brick. So this is where we kind of ended up. It's a much warmer palette. And as Jason mentioned, prototypically, there's a lot of orange on this building, which is a big part of their branding. So typically about 3/4 of the sides and almost all of the rear of the building is orange. Obviously here we've chosen to work with the township and minimize and just use some accent of that color to interject that into the design for the tenant. So we think it's going to be a great looking building in that location. As part of redeveloping that parcel, most, I'd say at least half or better of the front part of that lot where all the existing parking is going to pretty much stay for the most part how it is. So we're redeveloping everything, the half back and adding the building and reworking some of the parking and drives back there to work with that. We think it'll be, like I said, a good addition to that. I think it fits in well with the community, and the use is a desirable use for most folks. I can tell you that in working with Compton Addy, I would say over the last 3 years at least, they, as well as the tenant, have been clamoring for a location in this area, either city or Ypsilanti or Ypsilanti Township. And they've met some opposition along the way, particularly from Ypsilanti. So it was refreshing to come to you guys and you guys to be so open and accepting of it, excited about it to some degree, which is very helpful and appreciated. I can tell you that Compton Addy and the tenant both are extremely excited about this site and getting this store open.
Mr. Knuckles, what is the investment amount? Like the building, is it $3 million, $2 million?
Jonathan might have a better answer for you, but typically the site development and the building, I would say 1.5 to 1.8, something like that. So it's a pretty big investment. And these guys are, I think, John, are they 15 to 20 year lease? What do they sign? 15-year lease. So basically, they're not going anywhere for at least 15 years. And I think they're almost to 40 locations now in 9 different states. Obviously here you've got one in Wixom. You've got one in Clinton Township that just opened. And we're trying to get approved in Southgate to get another one started there under construction. So a lot going on in Michigan with these guys, but they're also doing stores in other states. Their goal is to be coast to coast, and I think by far, with nearly 40 stores, they are considerably larger than any other company that does similar things. So anyway, I am happy to answer any questions. We're looking forward to being here.
Well, we would love to hear from the developer.
Sure.
Or the tenant, is that what you're referring to?
He's a developer.
He's a developer, okay.
I work for him.
Okay. How many jobs are going to be created? And
There is typically about 24, 25 jobs. So they'll have, depending on the day of the week, in their hours and their peak hours and stuff like any other retailer. They could have anywhere from 6 to 12 employees on site at all times, which would include sales staff, and there are always NRA and properly certified safety officers and trainers and those kinds of things too. So safety is a huge, huge thing for them. So video surveillance, 24 hours a day, inside and outside the building. I mean, it's one of their primary points of emphasis is safety for not only their building and what's inside the building, but also for everyone that comes in to buy a weapon. They want to make sure that they're properly trained, they understand the safety aspects of it. So that's, again, something they really stress as a company.
Safety and education. Education is probably their biggest thing next.
Can you get close to the microphone? Give your name, please.
My name is John Zilch. I'm with Compton Addy. One of the biggest things is education. They are the world's largest educator on firearms concealed carry. Currently, they do probably around 20,000 people a year, and that's only going to be growing even more. They want to make sure people who come in there learn how to shoot a gun properly and safely. A lot of gun ranges that I've gone to in the past are typically, when you go in there, you get a vibe there that you don't belong there and stuff like this. They are very welcoming. One of their main things is going after the housewife, teaching them how to shoot properly, and anybody who hasn't shot a gun.
Other questions for board members?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Trustee Wilson.
I think there was board members at the work session that want to know what types of firearms that will be on the site.
So they sell handguns, shotguns, and rifles. They do sell AR-15s, but the one thing that they do not do, they do not sell AR-15s that are 80% built. So if you have a gun that is 80% built, you don't have to get that registered. So they make sure that the gun is fully registered to whoever gets it. The one thing that Shoot Point Blank does, or Range USA, they do FBI background checks. If something comes back and they don't hear from the FBI, there's usually a 3-day waiting period. After that 3 days, they can get the guns back. They can distribute the gun to the seller, to the buyer. What they do, if they do not hear back from the FBI, they will not give that gun out. Until they get a clear answer from the FBI, they will not give anything out.
Thank you, that's good to know.
Other questions?
Yes. Will this require any investment from the township?
It
No.
will not.
Oh, thank
No, all of this is private funding through the developer.
you. And you pretty much answered my other questions,
Okay.
like,
One other thing I'd like to add is the other thing that is important to Range USA is working with local law enforcement. You'll find that when they're ready to be here, that they're going to reach out to the township and they're going to talk with the police chief and all of the officers and encourage them to come into the store as often as they need to, or just for casual shooting recreationally, or through recertifying or anything like that. They love having law enforcement in their store. They love having them in the store. They love having their cars in the parking lot, whether that be local law enforcement, if it's federal, you name it. They love having, Secret Service, you name it. So they love having those people in and out of the store. So they really work hard with local law enforcement to make that happen.
and what kind of connection to the community will be planned? For instance, like, I guess, what do I want to say? Education, or how do you plan to connect to the community?
I don't know.
Mostly you'll start seeing marketing happen, and you'll see a guy named Chris Cravens. He will be coming up and speaking with, like Ken said, the police chief, the board, anybody here who wants to talk with them, to talk about Range USA. And
They're just now changing that now.
yeah, so I'm so used to Shoot Point Blank, sorry. That they will be coming, start marketing, start talking with everybody else to get their name out in the community and say, this is a place where you can come to learn properly and safely.
And if I wanted to visit one, I know you're located in Wixom. Where can I go? side of Wixom, or?
Wixom, Clinton Township, and Utica, we just opened a location there. And as
Well,
I
Ann
said-
Arbor has. Wait, are you looking to get certified?
No, just checking out. Just checking out the place.
Wixom is
Yeah,
actually a good location. It's
Okay.
a nicer store. It's less prototypical. The one in Utica, Clinton Township, is more prototypical, but it's still extremely nice location.
Yeah.
And what we would offer, and I know that Kevin Ali with Range USA were here, he would extend the opportunity for you guys, anybody that wants to come to one of their stores and just walk through and check it out and all that,
Yeah.
all you got to do is let him know. He's happy to have you guys come in. If you have any reservations or questions about something, he wants to make sure that he puts you at ease as much as he can.
Yeah, that's what I was talking
Okay.
about.
If you ever want to visit the store and have a full tour, reach out to me or Ken, and we'll get it fully set up for you.
Okay. Thank you.
So when you explained the range of the weapons that would be sold there, is that pretty much what's sold in any of the
Yep.
Yes.
Range USA?
Yep.
It'd be the same kind of stock of weapons?
Yes.
Yes.
It's the exact same stock in every single store. They also sell ammo and accessories as well.
Madam
Mr.
Chair.
Eldridge?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Eldridge asked first.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, I was just going to share with the board members, this is kind of up my line from my previous career, so I've been in a lot of similar buildings. I have been now in the Wixom one in the last little bit. John, I'd be happy to take you to any of them you want to go to. There is a vast difference between how different stores are run, the quality of the instruction, and how thorough they are on background checks. My short time in the one in Wixom, I was impressed. The staff did they didn't know who I was. They didn't know I had been a police officer. And they made me feel welcome. I've been in some here locally, west of here, where I know the people, and it's uncomfortable to be in there. So if you're a new shooter and you go into a facility like that, you're not going to gain the benefits of being taught how to handle a weapon properly. So, again, in the short time I was there in Wixom, I was impressed. I have been to the one as well in Utica. Didn't stop in for but 5 minutes. I was on my way somewhere else. But as far as these type of businesses and facilities go, this is very good.
And sometimes, I guess some people have a certain, thought about what a use is like this, and one of the big things that comes up sometimes is noise. That's a good example. I'm not going to hear a bunch of guns going off all day long. That's something that they have worked on over the years in how to greatly improve noise abatement. This is basically a concrete box inside a concrete box filled with every kind of insulation and acoustic stuff that you can imagine. So what you hear even in the retail areas, for instance, is very muffled. What you hear outside the building is even more muffled. So you hear some pops and things like that is just very minor. It's not a big noise issue at all. So there are things like that that they have considered as far as the evolution of their building and the design of their buildings. Everything that they do, for instance, disposal of brass from all the ammunition and other things like that. There are federal regulations about how you do that, and they follow those to the letter.
Thank you. Trustee Peterson?
Yes, Madam Chair. When I was at the planning meeting, we talked about the delivery of the guns.
Yes.
And supplies. Just refreshing me, how often is those vans going to come through to deliver supplies? And I think you told me it won't be no late deliveries. It's
No, they'll never.
scheduled, right?
There'll never be a delayed delivery. Everything will be during business hours, which are 10 to 8 p.m. There's only one door where all the deliveries go in and out. There are no truck, like full semi trucks. They're mainly like your FedEx vans or something like that, but not actual FedEx. They're actually from
Individual vendors.
individual vendors that will be coming and delivering everything. As far as delivery goes, it could be a day they could have 1 or 2, they could have 5. It really just depends on the delivery schedule that the vendors put out.
Thank you so much.
And again, just kind of reiterate, there are a ridiculous number of security cameras everywhere, including around that delivery door, and everywhere inside the building and in the parking lots. And they keep those, I think this came up last time, they actually keep those videos, I guess, whatever, for 45 days minimum. And what they'll even do is if the local police department want a live feed to those cameras at any time, they'll give it to them so that they can watch things too if they want. So anyway.
I just had,
I don't know if this question would be for Jason.
what did you say?
So, is Jason still here?
Yeah, he's
Okay.
here.
So I don't know, it might be a question for Jason, or you can just field it. So one of the things that was exciting, or people were happy about, was this idea of some environmental, like native plantings and the EV stations. Jason, can you explain a little bit about, like when the planning department or the planning commission wants an EV charging station or 2 that are going to go here, like what is the policy there? Because what if somebody who's not using the Range USA wants to go charge their car? Or are we thinking we want them there just for the future of electronic or electric cars?
I think that probably both, I think, is the answer to that. I think some of the ones that are installed in these commercial applications, they're not really powered to, say, charge somebody's car within just a few minutes' time. It's more of a connect the vehicle while I'm here, and when I leave, I have a little bit more of a charge than I would without. It's sort of accommodating to people who have those types of vehicles. Kind of puts our best foot forward as a community, showing that, you know, we're thinking forward and that more of these types of vehicles are going to be sold. I mean, I would say the commercial charging station that was installed on Ellsworth at the Roundtree Plaza, the way that one functions is you have an app on your phone that is provided by that charging provider, and they show you where, you know, in the interstate highway system, what exits have charging stations, and those are, you know, charging stations of the, you know, the higher, you know, use rate, where you swipe a credit card and you charge your vehicle in 15 minutes. You know, that's considered a rapid charge. These wouldn't function like that. They wouldn't be like a commercial application. They're more of like the ones that you would see now, sometimes at grocery stores, where, you know, you plug in while you're there, and when you leave, you unplug, and you may get, you know, a bit of a charge. But this isn't something that's going to, you know, I guess what I'm getting at is it won't draw people there just to go charge their car. It's going to be for someone who owns a Tesla or, you know, an electric vehicle that's going to want to park there and plug in while they're there, you know, either purchasing or going to a class or something like that.
You don't have a policy that would prohibit someone from, like, let's say, I mean, because this is pretty new. Like, if somebody wanted to come and use it, like, that's what I'm wondering. Like, we don't have a policy on that. Like, if somebody wanted to go and they're not actually going to Range USA, I mean, maybe that's something we've got to think
Yeah, I mean,
about what
that's
means.
more of up to the proprietor to figure that out. I don't know. It's one of those things where,
You have to pay for it, don't you?
no, I think it's one of those things where people have these EV charging stations and people don't abuse them. Do you know what I mean? Like, people don't go out of their way. Like, someone who buys one of these vehicles is making a conscious decision to do so, and they're installing the hardware in their garage, and that's where they're primarily charging it. They're not, like, actively seeking a business that has one of these stations and then, like, going there just to use their electricity. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, we don't really have a policy in place per se, but we don't also have one because it's not really an issue. Do you know what I mean?
I understand, but if we're the ones that we're asking them to put it in,
Right.
and then we're saying, but it's up to the proprietor, that gives kind of mixed messages there. too,
Yeah, I mean,
right?
I guess I can understand that, but, I mean, if it's something that becomes more of an issue, then, I guess we could have the discussion about removing that infrastructure, but I don't think we're there yet. I mean, we have hotels that have these in place now, and we're not receiving complaints that people are loitering just to charge a car. Again, it's not the kind of charge that's going to draw someone to it. It's a trickle charge that's more of a convenience to someone who owns the vehicle, not something where they're going to go and just plug in and then sit there because they know that they're going to get a full tank in 10 minutes or 15 minutes or something like that. So the good news is I think it kind of polices itself, is I guess what I'm getting at.
Yeah, and from Range USA standpoint, they're going to put these in because the township has asked them to do that, but by no means are they going to police that. So if somebody pulls off the interstate looking to charge their car, nobody's going to come out if they're not inside buying something or using the facility. They're not going to police that. So.
And then the second question is the rendering, like the plantings, that's not what we're thinking is going to happen, right?
Yeah,
That was just okay, just checking.
What are the decibels? I'm sure
not really
was
sure.
there, from the shooting, like the sound?
So
Go ahead, John.
I can, so as far as the decibels goes, we've never done that. But what I can tell you is in their retail area, they will not break the noise ordinance for the city in their retail area. Okay. So if you can imagine what it sounds like in there, it's really not that loud. You hear a couple pops. Once you go outside, you actually you'll hear more sound from the highway than you do this actual building.
So you don't hear it at the sidewalk or?
No.
No.
Okay. No, you might hear.
I had been to one, not yours, but I had been to a gun range before, and I don't recall hearing it. When I was walking up, I don't recall hearing any noise, really.
Again, like I said earlier, most anything you're going to hear is going to be rather muffled. Nothing that's going to be sharp noise or anything like that.
Okay. I just wanted to ask a question because you brought it up.
Sure.
They've spent a lot of money researching to make this as sound as possible.
Right.
Especially when they have classrooms in there and everything else where they're teaching people concealed carry and education. They don't want that to be disturbed at all.
Yeah, and I'm not a housewife, but I did go, and try. I was going to get certified to carry a personal weapon, but I did not feel trained enough where I went in Milan and shot at a refrigerator out in the field. I mean, this is a true story. So even though I could have been certified because I passed the written test and the shooting test, but I did not feel qualified to really carry a pistol.
So it will make sure you feel very comfortable shooting a pistol. A lot of people who work there are ex-cops, ex-Army Marines that work there. So they know how to handle a pistol, and they will make sure that you shoot properly before you leave there.
Yeah, and I think it's really important for gun safety and for people, I do, and we have an outdoor range in the township, but we don't have, an indoor range, and I do know that people have asked about it. There's been other different companies that's come here before and looked into the possibility of having it. So I do think there's a lot of people that could benefit from the proper training of it.
Yes,
and I appreciate you changing all the orange and, I think that is a better looking building, but I understand that was.
Got just enough.
Yeah. And Range USA, you just decided to change the name?
So they bought the name toward the end of last year. 'Cause quite honestly, there's kind of a negative connotation that comes
I didn't
with
like the
shooting
other one.
point blank.
Yeah,
And
I didn't like
they've
that.
heard it and heard it and heard it, which kind of, I guess, complicates their argument when they're trying to get a store approved somewhere. So they bought that brand last year and have started
like
since
it.
the first of
I
the
really
year.
do.
Yeah, first of the year, convert all their new stores are Range USA. And as of yesterday, I think Kevin said, they're now in the process of every location they have existing, rebranding all of those.
I like it. Mr. Winters, did you have a comment?
Yes, I have a question. The township has a police services committee, and during the last year, we continue to receive information from about upgrading technology, and one of which is called this shot spotter. And this, and we don't have that technology yet, but yet the Sheriff's Department continues to at least broach that idea. And the way I understand that it works, identifies the sounds of, guns being fired inside a building, and then they report that to the police, who then respond. I was kind of curious with the amount of real shots that are going in there, even though they're quote-unquote muffled. Has that question ever been triggered as to whether or not that would lead to a quote-unquote false alarm by this technology shot
Honestly,
spotter?
I've never heard Kevin talk about that. Have you?
No, I haven't heard Kevin talk about that. So pretty, like every gun range is pretty much locked down. They have a safety instructor in every single one that is carrying. They have the concealed carry license. So for something like that to happen with the amount of people that they have working at times in there, it's very unlikely that it happens. It still could happen, but I think that they have a system in place, and I have to check with Kevin, the system in place for if anything does like that happens.
Maybe I didn't ask the question very artfully. What I'm trying to say right now is that on the shot spotter technology, it listens and tries to identify where shots are being, obviously discharged. And
Exterior though, Doug.
sorry?
It's not for interior shooting.
Well, okay. I just don't know exactly as to the technology as to what it is, but, if it's inside or outside, there's still some kind of muffled sounds, and part of the concern about the shot spotter technology was this, false negative type of issue, but if it's not an issue.
Well, I would like to think that at some point, if that technology is implemented here, that at some point law enforcement and others would eventually acknowledge that that's Range USA, and not, something else.
You can probably triangulate it so that they
Right.
get shots. I'll get to the technology.
We're doing license plate readers meetings right now.
Do y'all do those? Are you talking about it?
Yeah, we're talking about it.
Tell you what, man, I live in a place just east of Nashville called Mount Juliet.
You can't write tickets on it.
No, you cannot. It's not what
Okay.
it's for at all.
Okay.
But they catch, it seems like every week they're catching 2, maybe 3 people, vehicles, stolen vehicles, or, used in a crime somewhere or anything like that. Man, they find, that's a very successful program for them, for City of Mount Juliet. And Nashville it was a big deal in the City of Nashville, but they just recently passed that. So they're starting to implement that there too.
Are there any more questions or comments? So this is PD Stage 1, so we need Doug, we're changing the zoning. Do we need a roll call?
Yes.
Yes, we do. So, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. And we have a motion and support to approve PD Stage 1?
Yes. So
No. Did you want to say something, Jason?
Oh, and just reminding you that this is just PD Stage 1 for preliminary site plan, and that there's no formal action being taken on the draft development agreement. That'll be handled at the time of final.
We have to do the first reading on the
Just the Stage 1 preliminary plan, correct, and then that'll open up the window for Stage 2, which is final.
We're going to do a roll call vote because it's a PD, right?
Yes, please.
Trustee Swenson?
Yes.
Trustee Newman?
Yes.
Trustee Peterson?
Yes.
Gerald Rowe?
Yes.
Stumbo votes yes. Treasurer Eldridge?
Yes.
And Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
The motion is approved.
Thank you, and again, we're under the second round of detailed engineering and final site plan. Once we have a chance to get those to where they're approved and we get the agency permits in hand, and me and Mr. Winters have a chance to go through the final draft of the PD agreement consistent with those plans, we'll be back before you folks for Stage 2.
All right, thank
Thank
you,
you.
Jason. All right, the next item is request to approve an agreement with Washtenaw County Road Commission for the installation of 6 speed humps on Grand Boulevard in the amount of $52,816.
So move.
Support.
Motion Rose, support Trustee Swenson? I mean, not Swenson, sorry. So sorry. Any questions or comment? I know they were working a long time on these traffic calming devices, and I know that their neighbors will be happy that they're going to be installed. We have a motion and support by Wilson to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 3 is a request to approve circuit court litigation to abate public nuisance by padlocking at 1635 Parkwood and 626 Lynn Avenue, which is budgeted.
Support.
Motion Eldridge, support Gerald Rowe. Mr. Winters, did you want to briefly say something?
Just a brief update from the work session. These are cases that come to the attention of the township primarily through, many times, Neighborhood Watch, where residents notice an inordinate amount of traffic for short-term stops, could be 5 minutes or less, a lot of comings and goings, and that information gets relayed on to the township and to the Washtenaw County Sheriff's Department. They have a CAT team that will sometimes take those information and do an investigation. And these two cases here, 1635 Parkwood, it's one of 4 units that are connected together, have been dealing in drugs significantly for quite some time, according to the information. A search warrant was authorized. A significant amount of drugs were seized. The owner of the property was very cooperative with the township, in fact, to the point where he's very apologetic for not paying more attention to what's going on with his properties. They entered into a stipulated order that the one unit of the 4 will be padlocked for 12 months. The residents are under order to vacate. And at this point, the property owner is actually indicating he wishes to sell the 4-unit apartment complex. The property on Lynn was another one that came to the attention of the Sheriff's Department through complaints received through Neighborhood Watch. And you have to keep in mind that many of these properties, such as on Lynn Street, are in very, very dense residential neighborhoods. So when neighbors are seeing activity that doesn't look right, that's probably because that something isn't right. And they can see the cars going for short periods of time, people coming and going at different times of the day and night. And again, the investigation was conducted by the Sheriff's Department. Search warrants were approved by the district court judges. And then the search warrant executed, again, the seizure of drugs from that property. In fact, they discovered during the investigation that some of the individual rooms were being leased out separately by the property owner. And so all the markings and trappings of a drug house with charges being requested for operating a drug house being turned over to the county prosecutor. Our action is a civil matter where it allows the township to proceed to abate a public nuisance under certain circumstances, such as operating a drug house. And this one qualifies. And this one has been filed and is currently pending before the circuit court. And these two, again, are just one part of the overall stabilization effort we talked about in the work session to try and make sure that, I think Brenda has said many, many times, and the board's echoed the same sentiment, that the biggest investment you make usually as an individual is in your residential house, is in your home. And when people that are abusing, breaking the laws, turning it into a drug house, and that impacts the quality of life for a number of people in that neighborhood. And the township has done this consistently since the law was changed to allow us to do it. And I'm very appreciative of the Washtenaw County Circuit Court judges who have taken this very, very seriously and have understood the township's agenda in terms of trying to make sure we have a zero-tolerance policy for drug houses operating in the township. And these two qualify, so asking the township board to confirm what was previously approved by the township's full-time officials.
Thank you, Mr. Winters. Questions or comments? All right. We have a motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 4 is a request to cancel the May 3rd, 2022 Township Board meeting due to a special election at Ypsilanti Community School.
So move Peterson.
Motion Peterson, support Eldridge. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 5 is budget amendment number 3. Clerk Rowe?
I have a motion to amend the 2022 budget. I would move to increase the general fund by $86,411 to $10,148,892 and approve the department line items changes as outlined. I would move to increase the fire fund budget by $1,568 to $4,598,133 and approve the line item changes as outlined. Move to increase the bike, sidewalk, rec, and roads, or BSR2 fund by $2,304 to $2,572,514 and approve the line item changes as outlined. I'd move to increase the environmental services fund budget by $3,566 to $3,541,903 and approve the line item changes as outlined. I'd move to increase the recreation fund budget by $4,210 to $716,610 and approve the line item changes as outlined. Move to increase the 14B District Court Department fund budget by $1,473 to $1,796,248 and to approve the line item changes as outlined. Move to increase the building department fund budget by $8,209 to $967,008 and approve the line item changes as outlined. Move to increase the law enforcement fund budget by $4,981 to $8,556,713 and approve the line item changes as outlined. Move to increase the compost fund budget by $2,343 to $744,430 and approve the line item changes as outlined. And move to increase the motor pool fund budget by $439 to $229,412. I would so move the budget amendment.
Support.
We have a motion and support. The majority of the amendments were for the increase of 2.75% wage for all the different funds for the employees. Then did it include the amendment for the speed humps or traffic calming?
I was still looking. I don't.
Okay.
We may have to come back for the speed humps. I thought that it was included, but it is. On the packet, somehow the first page was missing, so my apologies for that.
Okay, just want to make sure that so that was the other increase that was there. We have a motion support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Other business? We don't have any other business. And we did board member updates in the work session, so a motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved. Support.
Motion Peterson, support Wilson. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 7:53.
I thought it was because the packet, you upload it before it runs. Release the page.
Your breakfast.
Yeah, for sure.
That's how she writes it.
Hey, I don't hate reading all that.
Well, you just, it's like I move to increase, and then list them all out. You just need, but she writes it out that way.
Like if I did a total.
Well, no, you could say, like, what was her motion? The budget amendment. Yeah, but you just have to.
Oh, yeah, no. I had Alan.